Hi, this is Susan here from SusanBlueRobot.com. I'm here today with another quick help video. There's been an inquiry of how I do my printing cuts, and well, I can show you how I do it. It's probably lots of other ways you can get it done, but here we go. I'm using Make the Cut, but I'm also using my file from Pop-Up Card Studio. So what I've done is I've brought in my I've made the cow. He's from a font, and I've split him apart and coloured the pieces that I wanted. I've showed that in other videos, and I've laid it all in place, taking the each set on each layer, going copy that across to make the cut and paste in place, and then you move it into the position you wanted. So it started off like this. My cow was taken over to make the cut and coloured and laid on the SVG after I've brought it in. Now, what I do now is everyone has their own way of doing print and cut. Of course, first you've got to have your calibration of your machines right. Now, one thing I don't like is if these little registration marks might cut in my white card, and for ease of when I'm doing the scoring and that, what I do is I get myself a new layer. On that new layer, all I do is I bring in just a little line, and if you notice that little line took the registration marks from there and moved them up, and then I go down to the other corner and I just do a little line. So that took the registration marks away from my card. Now what I do is I don't close that layer. I move it to the bottom and I never close that layer. So now what I have now is I'll do a print preview, and this is what's going to print. Everything's in its place. My registration marks are all on the corners, and so I'd go print. After printing and I lay it on my mat, I then go on and I turn off all my colours, my wording. Now, one thing to bear in mind, if you've watched any of my other videos, you will know that I tend to use a score tool for my pop-up cards. Well, for any of the score lines, the mountain and the valley folds, I use this thing. So what I'll do now is I turn off the actual cut lines. Now I've just got the score lines plus those registration mark pusher outer, as I call them. Then I go cut, and I go print and cut, and then I do this. So what I do, it's asking me to take it to the first dot. This first dot is this one here. I'll do that, and then it'll go to the next one. So it'll move up and it'll go to the next one. I line it up with my arrow keys, So it's perfect. And then I go to the next and line it up to this one. Now bear in mind I've got my scoring tool in. I have it on, well, I would have had it on 160 and 3 here. So what I would have done is turn this up and 3. Now these are still dotted lines, they're not made into solid lines because I find that the scoring tool indentates better if you're doing a little dot each time than what it does to go straight across there 3 times. And it makes it a lot easier to fold the pop-up cards. And that's just my opinion. Lots of people use the blades to cut. Well, that's well and good. So after I've scored, pretending that's scored, I then come over here, I turn this off, and I turn this one on. Now our pusher outers are still there, and now what we do is we take it back to what we normally would cut with, down to 1 pass or however many passes you do. Then you go and you line up the first one here, the second one here, and the third one here, and you go finish. So it'll go around, it'll cut all these things down here and around, then it'll cut the very outside, it'll end with this little line here, and then it'll stop. Now, I found this the easiest way to make sure that your score lines are on your print and cut on your page properly, and your cut lines are on your page properly. Yes, putting it through 2 passes does take longer, but the finish of the score lines and the cut lines are a lot nicer. I hope this helps give an insight as to how I do my print and cuts. I hope I explained it right. And this has been Susan Blue Robot, SusanBlueRobot.com. And I have lots and lots of videos on my blog now, explaining how to use Pop-Up Card Studio as well as with Make the Cut. And if you'd like to purchase Make the Cut or Pop-Up Card Studio, pop on over to SusanBlueRobot.com and follow the links from there to support my blog.